They need to push people in this digital currency, central bank digital currency. They need to motivate them. Maybe that will be some new financial crisis. I had some interviews about this, and there is the idea that possible if we can come in some kind of financial crisis and we lost all our money, maybe they can offer us that we will save our money, but under condition to open a digital wallet and to have only in central bank digital currency. You spoke with Mr. Armstrong, you had the interview with him. What is his thoughts about that?
Well, my latest interview with him was actually more around this election and the fact that he thought that Trump would probably win, but that that not only the US, but multiple countries are going to be going to war, and times are going to be much, much more difficult between now and 2028. And so our conversation was a little bit more about that. But in the past, when I've spoken to both Martin Armstrong and people like Ed Dowd, who's a former BlackRock portfolio manager, by the way, a real, stock market guy, they said that we're absolutely already in that crisis. It's just that they're maintaining the illusion that we're not. Of course, every single country after COVID was designed to collapse the world and bring in the fourth industrial revolution. But because there is such resistance to the fourth industrial revolution, to the Great Reset, because it is actually a nightmare of an agenda, it's not actually a good thing. You could argue that maybe the previous industrial revolution was good for us. You could argue that, but you can't argue that the fourth industrial revolution is going to be good for humanity, because it's complete control and enslavement to a digital dictatorship. So they have to collapse everything around us to force the issue, because normal people would not agree to this. And so the financial collapse, many believe, has already occurred. They're just maintaining the illusion, which of course they can do, because fiat currency is fake. It's not a real monetary system. It's digits on a screen, and they just print more whenever they want. And they say, oh, our debt's even higher now. And who are you in debt to when the money's not even real? But that's another issue. So the system has already crashed. Perhaps they are leading us to war to accelerate that and actually make it more palatable for people to accept that old system's gone. Because the reality is, Andrea, they're doing two things at the same time. They're doing the staggered approach, or the boiling frog technique, which is that they slowly keep increasing the pressure, and the frog doesn't realize that it's boiling to death. Because if they went immediately to Agenda 2030, there would be worldwide revolt. Even the people that have no idea what's going on would say, hang on a minute, and so they're doing the boiling frog technique, but too many people are waking up, so they have to go to something extreme at the same time. And that's where World War III comes in, which none of us want. We don't want to fight each other. We know now. Do you know how many veterans I know that have woken up to the fact that they were just used by their government for enriching the military industrial complex, for making Lockheed Martin richer and all their shareholders? That's really what it's about. And so, war today is not like wars of 300 years ago. We're talking about something completely different now. And we are literally, they want us to go and die so that they can become richer, so that they can accelerate the Great Reset. That's not something worthy to go and die for. And so essentially this huge crisis needs to happen. The other thing, I mean, for them to successfully get away with something like just flicking a switch and doing digital currency, again, if they did that tomorrow, they would have worldwide riots. It would be too many people. They couldn't control it. So it has to be some sort of a crisis before that for them to get away with that, I think. And it has to be a situation where people are so desperate that they will accept whatever the government says just for the sake of the perceived security or normality. This is what I think. The other thing that's very important to understand is that the WEF has been warning for the past couple of years that we are going to, need to expect an increase in cyber attacks. And so in June or July of 2020, they published an article about what the COVID-19 pandemic teaches us about cyber attacks or, the internet. And they've often made statements that one of the biggest lessons that we learned out of COVID was that everyone needs to be connected to the internet. What? You know, like the villages in Africa were actually doing quite well without the internet and without vaccines, actually. But it is because they need to be able to propagandize everyone simultaneously as they have the control of the information. But the WEF says that a cyber pandemic with COVID-like characteristics will come, and it's just as certain as COVID was as a pandemic, because that was just they knew that was coming, right? And so cyber COVID, which is what they call it, and it may be called something different by the time they do it, but cyber COVID is going to spread so quickly and be so devastating that they will have no option but to switch off all devices, all internet, absolutely everything, banking, electricity, everything, for a period of days until they get rid of this virus, like a digital lockdown, they call it. And of course, you know, that would be chaos. But if people are afraid, they will listen to, say, the emergency broadcasting system or whatever the systems they have set up at the time may be. The WEF says that in order to come back online, people would need to get a digital vaccine, which is what I, spoke about with you at the start, where they want everyone to have this digital global ID, which is a UN global digital ID. They want everyone to have this, so they're creating all of these crises to force us into that position because so many of us are resisting it.